How are we doing, honey? Do you eat at the dining halls? All by yourself? And how old are you? Wow, you look really good for your age, young lady. I bet you're pretty upset or confused or shocked that I talk to you like that. Then why is that how we talk to people who look older than us? Because we're ageist. As you heard, I'm Peter Kaldes, CEO of Next 50, a national foundation that invests in creating a world that values aging. I'm also a proud Tufts jumbo, having graduated over 25 years ago and pursued a path through a large law firm, a global bank, and the Obama White House. Yes. And I've now been working in the field of aging for nearly a decade. And that infantilizing way that I was just talking to you, that's what we in the field of aging call elder speak. And it's an example of ageism, which is stereotyping and discrimination against individuals or groups on the basis of their age. Studies have shown that 82% of older adults experience ageism every day. And we develop ageist attitudes by as early as 3 years old. Throughout her entire life, society will tell her that because she's aging, she has no benefit, no use, and no worth. And unless we do something about ending ageism, it may get worse for all of us because guess what? We're an aging society. According to the census, by 2029, we will have more people over 65 than under 18 for the first time. So why are we ageist? Well, simple. We don't value aging. So meet Marika. At 6 years old, she was told to celebrate the first 100 days of school by dressing up as 100 years old. So she came in looking like this, hunched over, with a gray disheveled wig and walking with a cane. If we valued aging, our education system would prepare us for getting older, not mock it. Imagine intergenerational centers that combine childcare with adult daycare. Imagine universities that prepare leaders for the demographic shift with courses such as the economics of aging or national security and aging. So Marika continued to see on TV and in movies older characters that are portrayed as absent-minded or evil or the butt of the joke. And as an adult, with a few wrinkles, Marika never stopped buying expensive creams because of that nagging voice in her head. You know that voice, the voice of cosmetic ads that tell you you need to reverse the signs of aging. Working as a seamstress, Marika would hear her clients say, "Oh, that dress isn't age appropriate," or "I'm too old to be wearing that." If we valued aging, we would be less youth obsessed and more life obsessed. Studies show that all these negative views of aging double the risk of cardiovascular events and increase the likelihood of dementia. But with a positive view of aging, we live nearly 8 years longer. Imagine if we demanded seeing more beloved characters on TV, like the Golden Girls, or encouraged our grandfathers to audition for ABC's Golden Bachelorette, or celebrated Dolly Parton releasing a rock album at 77. Or imagine if we just stopped using the line, "You can't teach an old dog new tricks." Because guess what? You can. Studies show that older dogs focus and concentrate better than puppies. And older adults are better at behavior change because of a lifetime of committing to reaching goals. Marika's 30-year career as a seamstress ended when she was 55. She wasn't getting new clients, but was getting a lot of questions about when she'd retire. It made her so unhappy she quit. If we valued aging, we'd encourage generative, productive aging, not rely on centuries-old notions that we want to do nothing as we age. German Chancellor Otto von Bismarck is credited with our modern version of retirement, which the US later adopted when life expectancy was 62. It's now 77, and more people want and need to work, yet the hiring practices of employers ignore older workers. According to AARP, this age discrimination costs the US an estimated $850 billion in GDP. Imagine if employers intentionally retained, retrained, and recruited older workers. These multi-generational workplaces would be more innovative, have stronger pipelines of talent, and be more resilient. Marika, by 65, proudly voted in every election, despite seeing signs everywhere that her voice was being stereotyped. With ageist images and headlines like these, politicians and the media link age with lower mental competency. But in reality, and according to the Alzheimer's Association, only about 12% of us will develop some sort of cognitive impairment as we age. So while it happens, it's not the norm. Besides, let's be clear, old age isn't the problem. Old ideas are. If we valued aging, our government would stop treating older adults as an expense, which is an idea that dates back to the Byzantine Empire. Today, we're more than just Social Security and Medicare. Imagine if we had government policies that invested in older adult entrepreneurs. Studies have shown that older adults are twice as likely as younger founders to build a successful company. So Marika and her husband, George, eventually retired and moved in with her daughter's family. Multi-generational households are kind of the norm in Greek families. Older relatives aren't made to live in costly, age-segregated communities. This was very helpful in monitoring Marika's health. During appointments, doctors would frequently talk to Marika's daughter about her health, ignoring Marika entirely. She once complained about being suddenly forgetful. And the doctor said, well, there's nothing he could do because it was old age. But a second opinion revealed it was just a temporary vitamin B12 deficiency, entirely treatable. If we valued aging, our healthcare system would care for all of us as we age. During the pandemic, hospitals rationed beds and ventilators based solely on age. And now we're running out of doctors, nurses, physician associates, and care workers. Imagine if we invested in recruiting more healthcare workers and provided them with more training to avoid making ageist assumptions about care. Marika, at 75, would take an hour-long bus ride twice a week to volunteer in a senior living community. She found purpose and joy in helping others feel less lonely. According to the World Health Organization, 1 in 3 older adults feels lonely and socially isolated. The Surgeon General says the health risks of loneliness at any age are like smoking 15 cigarettes a day. If we valued aging, we'd all do more to help the most vulnerable among us. Less than 1% of all philanthropy goes to causes related to aging. Imagine how more philanthropic funding could expand programs such as the Savings Collaborative, a grantee of my foundation, X50, which creates a community from marginalized older adults left outside mainstream banking where they can learn to save money and build financial resilience. Marika and George lived to be 86 and 84. I know this because Marika and George were my grandparents. And this year marks 20 years since their deaths. But if I ever spoke to my Greek grandmother in elder speak the way I spoke to you, I would have been slapped across the face. Because despite a lifetime of being bombarded by ageism from Hollywood, Madison Avenue, and Washington, my grandmother fiercely demanded we value her age. I'm now doing the same. Not because of the bad jokes, or the expensive creams, or the political clickbait. I want to end ageism because I want to be valued when I get to be her age. Imagine if society valued all our future selves. But it won't. It won't until you and I do. So, here are a few simple things you can do to stop ageism. You can volunteer with older adults to document their stories, such as with the Legacy Project. You can start buying birthday cards that actually celebrate aging, such as these from Age Friendly Vibes. And you can follow older content creators like the Old Gays and be one of the 11 million people who follow them. And finally, you can stop talking like this to older people. Because, as my Greek grandmother used to say to me, "Εκεί που είσαι ήμουν, εδώ που είμαι θα έρθεις." Where you are, I was, and where I am, you'll be.